that's actually my main message to everyone listening. If you do not have the circular strategy right now, do it as soon as possible, because this is the 10 years. I think 2025 to 2035, the whole world will become circular.
This podcast is a product of Vive, where we unlock sustainable businesses. Produced by Amplitude Ventures, your partners in early stage venture building.
Hi, and welcome to our second episode of Business as Unusual. I'm Sarah Fossum, the founder of Vive, and for the past 10 years, I've been working and navigating in the field of sustainable business, trying to understand what it really looks like and what it could be. Along the way, I've had so many honest and thought-provoking conversations with people across the industries. These conversations are about the real challenges, but also the huge opportunities in doing business differently. Too often, sustainability is treated as a compliance issue and something that you have to do rather than something that can actually create value. But when it is approached the right way, sustainability can really drive optimization, reduce risks, and even open entirely new ways of thinking about value, both environmentally, economically, and socially. And that's what this podcast is about. And Business as Unusual is a space to explore how we rethink business, not just to meet targets, but to build new companies that make sense for the long run. We'll talk to people with a range of perspectives who are navigating this space and trying to make change. And today I am super excited to have Mariya Simon joining us as our second guest. Mariya and I first met last fall at a sustainability conference in Oslo, and I would say that we bonded over discussing both the challenges and opportunities of circular business models, something that you have a lot of insight into. And I'm so eager to hear more about this. But first of all, welcome, Mariya, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's such an honor to be here, and I have to just switch my mind to English at once. I wouldn't think in Norwegian. It's really, really great, and it was so nice to talk to you last time. So I'm really looking forward to have this conversation.
Me too. I think we'll just try to recreate what the last conversation we had, but just the additional information with what has happened the last few months.
Yes, exactly.
But so let's just start off with you, Mariya, and your background. So you've spent over 13 years working in the construction sector on circular products, both in large companies, but also in startups. And now you're a senior environmental advisor at Rambol. Why don't you briefly just walk us through how you transitioned into this space and what continues to drive you today?
Wow, that's a long journey. I need to have a really long time to recap everything, but I will try to shorten it up. So I think the biggest progress in my interest for circular economy has happened during my master thesis and master studies on innovation and technology and how it influences society. So I've been studying this master program in University of Oslo. And this is the cross-functional program. So there are different kind of students from different kind of bachelors that are meeting together in this great master program that takes everything from science to social science to mathematics and so on. That where people actually are interested in seeing how technology is influencing society as the whole and also people as well. And I think that was when I started to realize how irrational we became in our circular behavior or uncircular behavior that we're actually doing nowadays, and how rational and logical this was for so many years and so many centuries of existing here on this earth. Um, and just the last couple of decades has changed our rationality, this being said about resources, that we have to take care about resources that we take out of the ground, that we are taking care about everything what we have, that we do not have the huge dumpster sites where we just dump everything, but rather we are thinking about how we reuse everything we have. And this somehow we have forgotten, after the linear economy has taken a prime place in our society associated life. And I think it's really fascinating how fast and how few generations it took for us to actually forget the most logical way of living. Uh, so I think my background from Ukraine also gives this kind of perspective, because I remember my father told me that, for example, in a scarce society like Soviet Union, you didn't have anything that you could throw away. You actually took care about everything, and of course we had like models for glass return. So we had return schemes for everything, for paper, for glass, for metal, already in the society at that time. Uh, and that's why it's like it brings even better perspective on how to understand the circular economy. And then, as my first place to work, I was a sales engineer working with technology to take care of the pipes. So both the water pipes and the wastewater pipes had to be inspected with special robotic equipment, and I was the one teaching about that robotic equipment and delivering it to different kind of municipalities here in Norway. And I realized how important it is to take care about our infrastructure, and this is the circular way of thinking. Instead of like closing the road for many days and disrupting the whole societal flow, you just need to inspect it and maybe repair it in some way, and do it in just a couple of days instead of making a lot of trouble for many, many people involved. And I realized how circular this way of thinking is, to actually repair and take care about our infrastructure, our buildings, our society as the whole. And afterwards, I started to work more with circularity of water. I've been working with at the firm that we sold a measurement equipment, for water measurement and energy measurement, and understanding also how, for example, wasting of our water here in Norway, that we do a lot compared to
Mm,
other European societies, because we have so much water. It rains, it
yeah.
pours a lot of rain on us, and we're like, oh, that's fine. And half of our pipes are having holes in them. So the water just leaks out. And what does it mean? That the pipes are getting worse much, much faster, and also that the energy cost for delivering that water and for cleaning the water, the chemicals we're using for cleaning the water, we need to double it up because we're
Mm,
wasting so much until it comes to our sink. And then I was like, how is it possible that we do not realize this like perspective on circularity, that it has an incredible effect? Like this small water sector has an incredible effect on energy sector, has an incredible effect on infrastructure sector, and so on and so on. And then by beginning thinking in these big structures and understanding connections between how our society is just sector wise put it in silos where they do not cooperate with each other at all, I realized that circular economy is actually bringing this whole set of mind where you take care about all the resources as the whole. That you're starting to think about how each of your resource is uh, influencing the whole society, both in input when you taking resource in the use, but also in output. How it's how waste of that resource is influencing the society.
yeah.
And then I was by understanding the interconnectiveness of this in construction sector, I went into the bigger companies which worked cross-functionally, delivering into bigger sectors, bigger value chains, and realized that more and more, the farther I came and the more responsibility I got for more products in the building sector, I realized how uncircular we are and how
Yeah.
linear we actually are, and how uh, circularity is business as unusual. As
Yeah.
the Norway podcast.
Yeah.
And it works in just very, very few sectors in Norway. Maybe like, for example, car repairs, right? So it's like that you repair your
Mm,
car instead of throwing it away. But otherwise, we came to the society where we basically throw away almost everything. And it's like, how is this possible? How do we have that much money that we rather throw this away. And when did the things become so cheap
Mm.
that is great to throw this away instead of like understanding our material cost and resource cost.
Yeah.
And I think my last position before I came to Rambol was really definitive for me. I started to work particularly with sustainability, but even more particular with circular economy, because I became a project manager circular economy at
Mm.
Scandinavia's biggest wholesaler, Alcel.
Mm.
And really thankful how innovative they were, taking me on and giving me this incredible space. Just, okay, work as a detective, find out where we are, what there is possible for us to become circular as fast as possible, where there are low-hanging fruits in our company, in
Mm.
our value chain, that we can start using at once. And I thought that was a brilliant way of working and a brilliant way of pointing out how we can start that kind of work. Because I still
Mm.
do believe that instead of like great pilot projects once in a while, I think if everyone starts to work a bit with circularity today, the sum of the effect will be much bigger than that one particular pilot project.
Yeah.
And now I came I think it's like a prime place in the construction business and value chain is the consultancy, where we actually start consulting clients very early in this infrastructure and building projects and societal projects, where we like draw and create whole districts, not just a building or a bridge, but a whole districts. And I think taking that understanding from the product perspective and giving the um, market assignment and understanding of market analyze of what's happening in the market, how fast it's going, how it's developing, is really giving me an advantage for our clients, because many of them don't even realize that there are so many circular solutions out there being created every day, and just inform them about it. And suddenly they realize, oh, it's so easy to purchase a circular product, or it's so easy to purchase a reused uh,
Mm.
building material. I
Mm.
think it's like the last point where I haven't been yet. And it's so great to use my knowledge to enrich
Yeah,
consultancy and our client base.
definitely. Because can imagine it's so valuable to have this insight from real cases. You walk the walk and you've done it in praxis. So be able to advise people on what they need to think about and how they need to do it and everything and how it's all connected, um, is so valuable. And on that note, one of the things that I really wanted to get into was both the challenge and the opportunity regarding what you have been touching in on a lot in terms of ecosystem and infrastructure and like system thinking and like how different actors, different industries need to come together in order to actually solve this. And everyone needs to do a little bit. It's not like, and that's how we get started. So why don't you just reflect a bit on that in terms of the need for changes or the need for facilitating more collaboration across the ecosystem.
Exactly, because what I understand more and more is that there is like always a fear of asking something that market is not ready for.
Mm.
Especially among the public companies, not the private sector, but the public sector is really afraid to like put a lot of regulations on the private sector, because they're so afraid of like choking their business. Well,
Mm.
instead, what they're doing instead is not creating the market movement. So for me, it was like, oh my God, what you have to say, what you have to start doing is asking for what you need. So get your circular knowledge in place, and please start transforming it into, for example, tenders, right? So if you start asking for circular products, then there will be a market realizing out there that the
Mm.
circular products are needed. And I have seen it in several value chains already. I can give you a very concrete example. So this is the ventilation product. So it's like these ventilation pipes, basically the metal shafts for ventilations. Just a couple of years ago, it was just a pilot in Bergen in Norway where they have presented the successful reuse of the ventilation systems. And I remember already standing on that stage, presenting my group reflection on the case. I was like, and there were a lot of wholesalers of ventilation equipment in the among the audience, and I said that I'm not jealous of you guys that are selling the new ventilation equipment today, because your business models will be definitely under a lot of press now that many
Mm.
people are realizing that you can actually reuse those systems.
Mm.
And now already all of those wholesalers are creating new kind of business areas and flows where they are somehow either upgrading ventilation systems without taking them down, or buying the reused ones, ventilation channels from, for example, demolition companies, in order to sell them recertified as used,
Mm.
as reused material and reused products. So it's actually showing that the more it becomes public, the more it becomes possible in the market, the more players in the market are taking that stand and want to be a part of it. And also the existing companies. So it's the existing companies actually innovating in the way of circularity. And I think this
Mm.
is an amazing example. And just a couple of weeks ago, one of the firms that delivers that installs the ventilation systems, they're just communicating on their LinkedIn on how they are advising their customer to actually do not install the new ones, but rather reuse systems, and giving the consultancy and services on how to refurbish the systems that are existing already in order to create better volume for the air supply, and so on and so on. So it's even the installation companies, the companies that
Yeah.
having the guys and girls with screws and helmets, they're the ones understanding that reuse is the way to go. And then
Mm.
we're coming really far. Then it's becoming a normality to think about reuse ventilation systems before buying new ones.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yes.
It's so inspiring to hear these kind of real cases where this is actually working and there's actually happening changes in these industries, and we're seeing that it's working,
Yes,
and
we
that's great.
do.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's being it's going over to other sectors as well. So when the ventilation system is like being more and more reused, then they're thinking about, oh
Mm.
yeah, which kind of other steel materials are good for that kind of
Mm.
thinking. And then it creates a creativity among the demolition companies, among the wholesalers, among the producers, to think about, oh, is our product as circular as this product? Can we also deliver it in another business model? Can we think about it? Because now it's so much uncertainty geopolitically about the raw materials, about
Mm.
buying things from other geographies, and European Union's really thinking about like, oh, buy European, right? So they're starting to think as well. Okay, how do we lay out our business model to be both circular and local? So
Yeah.
this regionalization of geopolitics, which I think for like all of us when we are reading news seems crazy. It's like, oh my God, the world is shifting, the world is changing. But for circular economy, this is maybe the best that could have happened.
Yeah.
That's what we actually need. We need to be
Yeah.
more regional. We need to understand our resources. We need to realize what resources we can reuse. We need to start doing urban mining in our areas instead of thinking about that everything can come from the place somewhere under the ground.
And I'm just curious also, like you mentioned, obviously this new way of providing, like obviously it changes the business model. So do you have any insight into how that has like how was the company able to transition their business model in terms of like both the financial model of the business and the customer, and even like I see that as like one of the obstacles a lot of the times if you're a sustainability person in a big company and you're trying to preach a circular model to the sales department, then sometimes it needs, you know, I think like I realized that there's actually so many business opportunities in a more circular model, but then obviously that it needs to change the sales model and the business model in itself. So do you have any like insight into how it affected their business model and their sales, and how was the company able to transition into this more kind of circular approach?
I think this is the Kodak moment for a lot of linear businesses. And I
Mm,
think they're discussing it as we speak now in their strategic rooms and
mm,
forums. However, uh, it is very difficult to start thinking circle in your whole value chain when your value chain is really long geographically, like
yeah.
physically, really, really long. Um, so adapting a local circular business model with your own resources and seeing profitability in it, uh, it is hard kind of homework, right? So it's like it's the adoption that takes time. However, I see that, for example, in mobile phones, I've seen the statistics that the biggest growth in electronics right now, it is not in the new mobile phone sales, but it's rather in reused mobile phone sales, because the
Mm,
new mobile phones have become actually pretty expensive, right? It's
mhm,
something about the extraction of the raw materials. It's something about where they're produced, and something about quality the producers are putting in it, making it maybe more uh, repairable, the design and so on. And then you see that because the design is becoming more repairable, and because the people are expecting that it will be possible. Uh, the reparation of old mobiles has become a much bigger circular business for a lot of players in the electronics. So right now, I just saw Elkjøp, a huge Norwegian
yeah.
provider, had just posted that it's actually something they started just a couple of years ago. They're really putting a lot of money into the business of repair, and they're becoming the biggest repair for electronics in whole Norway, repair shop. So what we are seeing here is the transition where the
Mm,
uh, circular and reused market is not maybe yet that mature, but it is becoming so interesting for so many that they're pushing this
mm,
maturement. So it's like the S curve. I can give you an example of like a horse riding while cars being introduced in the beginning of 19th century in New York, right? It took around 10 years for 99% horses being replaced by 99% cars in New
yeah,
York, right? So it's like it
yeah.
is a curve, and it's always so slow in the beginning. And then when it really takes up, and when it's beginning to point up, like it's doing, for example, with repairs of electronics, then it's becoming a business for everyone. Then
Mm,
maybe you're even too late to the party. So those who did not start understanding this and making their repair shops in their stores, electronic stores, and stuff like
mm,
that, maybe they're not there. This is the Kodak moment where they have missed the train that they should have come onto. And that's actually my main message to everyone listening.
yeah.
If you do not have the circular strategy right now, do it as soon as possible, because this is the 10 years. I think 2025 to 2035, the whole world will become circular. This is the
Mm,
10 years it will happen. And then you're choosing like to perish or to go into transition
yeah.
into totally new and much more sustainable business ways.
Mm. That's so interesting and very exciting. And also, I wanted to ask you in terms of one thing is the industry and the infrastructure and ecosystem around it. Another thing is the regulatory aspect. So obviously, there has been some changes the last few years regarding reuse and enabling that, because even today there are a lot of obstacles, right? A lot of regulations that are prohibiting or like making it more difficult to repair and reuse. So what are your reflections on that, like, and what are the changes that you think needs to happen in order to really facilitate this the best way?
What I reflect upon is that a lot of these regulations are already in play, especially in the European Union. They're coming really fast, all of them. It's
Mm, mm,
APR, it's producer responsibility, it's Repairability Act, it's Eco Design Directive, it's digital product passport. So you will be able to follow your product, to be able to repair your product. You will be able to understand the content, where the product is coming from.
mm,
All these changes, regulatory changes, are actually coming as a flood, and a lot
mm,
of businesses are actually feel it right now on their own skin, right? So in their business room, they're
mm,
discussing how we're going to react on it, because this is something we're being pressed into. And I think I understand the panic. I understand that, oh, this is something so new, this is something so different. But I also uh, think that without regulation, it's not going to happen. So
mm,
if you do not regulate how the business should be, it will
mm,
always, it's like a water. It finds always the easiest way. So you have to make the dam, the borders for the river. You have to draw where the river is going in order
mm,
to be clean and green and good for both society and the animals living inside it. So it's
mm,
like, it is very, very important that the public sector also realizes its power in creating those regulations, and of course seeing them as the whole, because there's so much silo thinking in our public, in Norwegian public life and politics, because
mm,
each department, ministry has its own particular way of working, particular regulation, and they do not talk to each other. And I think it's really important, especially when it comes to circularity, nature, and biodiversity. We need to cross think all these
mm.
issues and all the regulations, so it wouldn't be like you do something good on one side and then you destroy something and something on the other hand, right? So we
Exactly.
have to be able, like you say it in Norwegian, we have to have two thoughts at the same time in our heads, because it's
Yeah.
impossible to have this silo thinking all the way. But for,
Mm,
especially if, like for the procurement way of working, right? So green procurement or circular procurement is so important. You have to start
mm,
actually expecting the market to deliver that. You have to ask what you want if you want the
mm,
market to
mm,
turn into the right position and to deliver those products. But if you are afraid of communicating to the market what you actually need and rather wait until market adjusts, then the market
mm,
will adjust to some other regulation, like European regulations right now, and not necessarily to the Norwegian regulations. So this
mm,
kind of harmonization between the Norwegian regulation and expectancy over there and what's happening in Europe, it's gonna be huge headache for Norwegian firms, because they often are
yeah,
are delivering in other countries as well. So
yeah.
just to sum up, I think procurement is one of the most important regulations you can do, and adapting those good regulations on how their products should be, their repairability, their lifetime, their lifespan, value chain insight, and transparency. All of it has been thought about already by really wise people down in European Union, and we should not like try to find this wheel and make this wheel again. We should just follow their good advices. And what I've read so far is really revolutionary. I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward. But I'm one of those people that loves innovation. I guess it scares a lot of other people, but I really think that it should be regulated in good way. Which also, just remember, this is an opportunity for European Union businesses to actually become much more attractive for the rest of the world
Mm,
if they're actually doing something new, something circular before everyone else. Because right now, especially United States, they're just thinking like, let's go 100 years back, and I say, oh, let them deal with that. But we are going forward and proving that circular way is the way.
mm, definitely. And I have a very specific example that illustrates your point, both in terms of like that you need to make changes now before the regulations or the market change, and you're going to be too late, and it's going to be costly for you because a company that I worked in, we were assessing more circular business models. So having some of the products that we had that had a very very durable and had a long lifetime, to be able to lease it out, or to at least be able to take it back and refurbish it or potentially recycle it. Even though there were a lot of challenges regarding that as well. We saw that Germany was one of the countries that took the ERP, like the extended reduced responsibility, took it a step further. So suddenly one day I just got the call like, okay, we need to be able to take back all of our products from all our customers in Germany today. And not only that, we also need to be able to deliver take-back solutions for customers that are replacing our products. They don't even have to buy a product from us. They're just replacing it. So there are so many regulations that are coming so fast that we were not really prepared for. Obviously, at the time then, there was third party that were able to help out, but it's costly. This could have been an opportunity for us to be more circular and kind of facilitate for that business model that we were kind of looking into and trying to develop towards. But then it ended up being a missed opportunity and a cost. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think, advice for every company or every strategic thinking right now is to start realizing your products, what products you're actually putting on the market, if you're the one putting it on the market, and start thinking about take-back systems, because take-back systems is the future. It's you either cooperate with circular companies, startups, you cooperate with some kind of clusters or whatever, but you need to have a control over what's happening with your product and where it ends up. You need to have that kind of control, because it might be that in the very near future, this will be your raw material. And it has to be put back. And then you want to have control over which kind of raw material you put back into your product. And what you have the most control of? Your own product. So to have this kind of understanding of your product is your own gold. If you're not satisfied with your own quality, then you need to switch the business model and product you work with. Because if you do not want to have a take-back system for your own product, refurbish it, repair it, put it back as a raw material, then there's something wrong with your business model. Then it's not valuable and livable for the future anyway. Then you have to change your whole business model anyway. But if you have an opportunity to make a good take-back system, do it already now. Start challenging your logistic partners. You have wholesalers, you have demolition firms, you have the construction firms, or any kind of waste management firms that are actually interested in those kind of tasks. You have an example, incredibly good example, in region of Trondheim, Trøndelag in Norway right now, where they have this company which is partly demolition company, partly waste management company, that is now like announcing just a couple of weeks ago, that we want to have an access to all the construction sites in our region, because we want to come and pick up the things that you haven't used, or pick up the reused materials. We're picking everything up, and we're putting it on sales in our wholesale house. So it's like they're realizing the gold, this urban mining gold that there's out there, that everyone is screaming right now. Like me, I'm a change maker on LinkedIn. How often am I just going out there and, please, do you have this kind of materials or this kind of material?
Yeah.
It's not standardized. There is no system. You have to scream out to everyone. And it's like, it doesn't make sense. And then there are a lot of people like this company is realizing it and just like, okay, you know what? We want everyone to come to us. Okay, we will maybe get something that we will not sell at once, but we want so many people coming to us and associating us with this reused hub, where we can buy everything we need for our building or for our construction, that we would rather take everything there is, right? And then they can analyze what they need, what they don't need. But anyway, it's like they're creating this ecosystem of logistics, both transport and and storing that is
Mm.
unique for the construction business. And I think this kind of companies, this kind of realizations and analysis will hit a lot of regions in Norway, especially like these urban regions where a lot of construction projects are going on. So, and there's so many startups. I want to have a shout out to one incredible startup, Ståltro, that is like focusing on steel materials. And they're saying, okay, dear demolition company, let us in. We will take these steel materials. We will take them. We will recertify them. We will refurbish them and prepare it for a new sale as reuse material. Put documentation that you need, and we will sell it through Alcel. We will sell it through a wholesaler that sells already new products, but now we will have a reused version. And then it's like these kind of companies, they're gonna come and they're gonna take your business. If you are
Yeah.
not cooperating with a company like that
Yeah.
and making your place in this new circular value chain, someone else will.
100%. Yeah, definitely. And I think, like, if we can kind of, obviously you've been discussing it a lot throughout the conversation regarding the opportunities around this shift towards more circular business models. But if we're thinking like, if you would kind of advise companies to get started, like how should they get started into kind of both understanding the opportunity that lies in this shift, but also to understand how do they need to rethink their own business model? Like, how would you approach that if this is something that you're not already doing, or even improving what you're doing already
Yeah,
in terms of circularity?
I think there's so many low-hanging fruits. So CSRD is gonna hit a lot of companies. Of course, big companies first, and small companies in a couple of years. So what's happening is that you have to start understanding which kind of products is going through your system. So right, so it's like
Mm.
your business system. You're either a selling company, you're selling product A to company B, or you are installer company in construction business. You are buying a product A and installing at for the company B. So you're having this physical product somehow as a part of your value chain, and to understanding which kind of product it is, where you buy it from, are you producer? Then you have to start take back systems, circularity, refurbishment, repair, recycling. How do you get recycled content of best quality? Searching for it, researching on which kind of recycled material will be good for you. If you
Mm.
are a wholesaler, then you have to understand, okay, where do I get reused products? Where do I get recycled products? How do I onboard them in my system? how how easy it is to start thinking circular in my own logistics system, right? There are a lot of things being thrown away in the logistics system, everything from pallets to boxes to plastic coverage and so on. Start thinking about reusable ways of logistics, right? So like reduce how many cars you're taking to a specific customer if you are like applying reused boxes instead of carton boxes and so on and so on. So think about where you can have as little garbage and waste as possible into your logistics system. If you're a construction company, you have to think about what are you buying, what are you ordering, which kind of wholesalers do you cooperate with, what is being constructed, is it possible to get a hold of reused materials? Who should you get in contact with to understand how to buy the reused materials and so on and so on? There are like people like me, consultancy people that can advise you on each level. And also, if you're a producer and you have this incredibly good product, if you're sure that your product is good, then you will find a circular way. And you will
Mm.
always find a circular way because a good product lives much longer than usual. And then if your product lives too long, it's like, oh, it's not good for us that product lives so long. We should sell it more often. Then think about repairment. Just think about
Mm.
reserve parts and so on and so on. So how do you help your customer to prolong life of your product is also the way of servicing it. Is it take back system, or is it you have to rent it instead? Is your product is so good that you can start taking uh, uh, monthly or yearly rent instead? Is it the way to go where you can like share it out with your best customer? So there's so many low-hanging fruits. Open your waste statistics and you'll see the possibilities at once. Open your value chain statistics and to see how many things you're buying, where you're buying them from. Is it possible to bring in more to Europe in order to have a better cooperation with your supplier? And are your suppliers good enough? Are your suppliers um, prepared for this circular way of thinking? And if you're a public company ordering, please start order circular. Um, get better knowledge about what it is to be circular, what are the products that can be circular, and start thinking about how much you're buying, which is unnecessary. We are buying a lot of unnecessary things because we think that we need them. We have like incredible examples with, like, for example, furniture, right? In the public sector, or in the schools, or in the public sector, and other places. There's so many things being ordered, and you don't even understand that you actually have a lot of those furniture pieces already, and they can be used. And it's like, oh no, let's just refurbish everything and just like throw everything away. And we have to start thinking more systemically and like take care of every little things that we have.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Mariya. This has been like a full-on crash course in like how are you gonna turn your business model more circular? So many good insights and also like so many good real cases. And I think that's like so important for companies to see like this is happening right now and this is possible right now. And these are the steps that we need to take in order to start making this transition and opening these doors and unlocking these opportunities. And really refreshing conversation. So thank you so much for sharing your insight and tips with us. And we definitely need to have another chat again soon
Yes.
to get more information from you on what's happening out there in the circular area.
Yeah, and you who are listening, follow me on LinkedIn. I'm posting a lot of news on any kind of changes within circular and reuse world.
Yes, definitely. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
And-
having such an interesting conversation.
And we'll talk again soon.
We do.
Bye-bye.
Bye.